So the law doesn't save us from sin by any means, but the law does show us what sin is. The Torah, not the Torah, shows us what sin is. And so we follow the Torah. I follow the Torah to avoid sin. Also in chapter 7, verse 22 through 25. For I delight in the law of God For I delight in the law of God according to the inward man. But I see another law in my member, warning against the law of my mind, and bringing me into captivity to the law of sin, which is in my members. O wretched man that I am, who will deliver me from this body of death? I thank God, through Jesus Christ our Lord. So then, with the mind, I myself serve the law of God, but with the flesh, I serve the law of flesh. So he's saying that it's not possible for people to completely live out of sin. We will sin. We will fall short. But thank God that he sent Yeshua to be our sacrifice, our perfect sacrifice. And then I'll go to Romans 3. This is a long passage. I'm going to read a lot of it. It's Romans 3, starting at verse 9. What then? Are we better than they? Speaking of, are Jews better than Gentiles, is what he's talking about. What then? Are we better than they? Not at all. For we have previously charged both Jews and Greeks that they are under sin, as it is written, there is none righteous, no, not one. There is none who understands. There is none who seeks after God. They all have turned aside. They have together become unprofitable. There is none who does good, no, not one. Their throat is an open tomb. With their tongues they have practiced deceit. The poison of asps is under their lips, whose mouth is full of cursing and bitterness. Their feet are swift to shed blood. Destruction and misery are in their ways. In the way of peace they have not known. There is no fear of God before their eyes. Now that we know whatsoever the law says, it says to those who are under the law, that every mouth may be stopped, and all the world may become guilty before God. Therefore, by the deeds of his law, no flesh will be justified in his sight. For by law is knowledge of sin. But now the righteousness of God apart from the law is revealed, being witnessed by the law and the prophets, even the righteous of God through faith in Jesus, to all and on all who believe. For there is no difference, for all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God, being justified freely by his grace through the redemption that is in Jesus Christ, whom God set forth as a propitiation by his blood through faith, to demonstrate his righteousness, because in his forbearance God had passed over the sins that were previously committed, to demonstrate at the present time his righteousness, that he might be just and the justifier of the one who has faith in Jesus. So I believe that hating sin and loving the law is the same thing. And I believe that when I follow the laws of the Torah, that I feel closer to God. It's not my salvation. My salvation is through Christ, because even if I was trying to get salvation through the law, I would fall miserably short. So I'm going to go to Matthew 5. And I'm just going to read a couple of verses. This is from the Beatitudes. It's Jesus talking. And he says, "Do not think that I came to destroy the law or the prophets. I did not come to destroy, but to complete. For assuredly I say to you, till heaven and earth pass away, not a dot or a letter will by no means pass from the law till all is fulfilled. Whoever therefore breaks one of the least of these commandments and teaches men so shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever does and teaches them, he shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven." And then in chapter 7, verse 21 and 23, "Not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, shall enter the kingdom of heaven, but he who does the will of my Father in heaven. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in your name, and cast out demons in your name, and done many wonders in your name? And I will declare to them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you who practice lawlessness." And then last, I want to go to Hebrews chapter 10. I believe that it tells me that sacrifice never takes away your sin. Only Yeshua can take away your sin. So in Hebrews chapter 10, and I'll read kind of a lot of it, so bear with me. "For the law, having a shadow of good things to come, and not the very image of the things, can never with these same sacrifices which they offer continually year by year, make those who approach perfect. For then would they not have ceased to be offered? For worshippers once purified would have no more consciousness of sins. But in those sacrifices there is a reminder of sins every year. For it is not possible that the blood of bulls and goats could take away sins. Therefore, when he came into the world, he said, Sacrifice and offering you did not desire, but a body you have prepared for me. In burnt offerings and sacrifices for sin you had no pleasure. Then I said, Behold, I have come. In the volume of the book it is written of me, to do your will, O God. Previously saying sacrifice and offering,